Oh, g'day. Okay, I want to speak a little bit about viruses and disease, referring to the mind, as in this is a visualization of thoughts. Our life is a visualization of thoughts. It's a dream state. It's a dream of mind. So, everything within the dream is symbolic of a state of mind, a way of thinking, a design of thought. So, within the dream state that we call life, what do viruses represent? What do viruses symbolize within the dream state? It fascinates me. Now I'm going to use an acronym for virus. VIRUS, virus. Voice initiated reprogramming and unification system. Voice initiated reprogramming, that's obvious, that's what a virus is. It's a reprogramming entity. And unification, voice initiated reprogramming and unification system. What's that refer to? What does it infer? Voice initiated. Okay. When we voice our opinions, when we express our opinions, when we openly declare our opinions, we are voicing an opinion. Voice initiated reprogramming and unification. So it's reprogramming initiated by our opinions, our thoughts, because thought is a response to or an opinion of an environment. That's what thought is, an opinion, a response to the environment. Okay, so voice initiated. It's reprogramming determined by our thoughts, our opinions. Or is it? Is it to do with our thoughts and opinions? Voice initiated reprogramming unification system. Or is it the system itself, the opinions and thoughts of the system that attempt or initiate the reprogramming for unification, to unify the system, to bring the system into a state of balance, a state of harmony, to coordinate all parts of the system. Is that what viruses do? Now viruses, there's thousands and thousands and thousands, I don't know how many, but they're everywhere within this world, life, dream state, reflection of thought. They're everywhere, in the water, in the earth, in the air, but only a few of them seem to adversely affect us. They're all going about doing their thing, reprogramming. Now, I spoke before about the forum complex, a feedback process that goes back to the source and determines how the dream state is adjusted, what is manifested and visualized into the dream. Okay, a feedback process. We're all entities on this planet, this world, this planetary consciousness, voice their opinions. Forum complex is where people voice their opinions on certain subjects. Everyone has an opinion. They voice those opinions. Voice initiated. Forum complex. Do viruses have something to do with that feedback process, or of that adjustment stage of the forum complex, where all entities voice their opinions those opinions are fed back to the source, which I have said before is a virtual brain mind. Virtual brain mind forms virtual realities, dream states. Created this dream state, virtual brain mind. Okay? And it determines what is adjusted within the dream through that feedback process, that forum complex. Everybody voicing their opinions. So are viruses something to do with that adjustment stage of the forum complex, where they go about reprogramming? All life forms within this dream have DNA. DNA. That's what viruses do. They attempt to reprogram the DNA. So, it has been said through science, it's pretty well known in science, that viruses play an important role in evolution. The evolution of life forms on this planet. They reprogram the life forms on this planet, make adjustments to bring about something better, hopefully. Maybe not all the time. Okay. Voice-initiated reprogramming and unification system. The forum complex, where everyone voices their opinions. Okay. Now, as I said, only a few viruses within, or compared to all of the viruses that exist, it is only a small percentage that adversely affect us, or seem to. Now, it fascinates me why we created an immune system. An immune system that's our personal defense system, security system. And anything that's unwelcome is attacked, is put out of action so that the threat no longer exists in some way or form. An immune system, a security system, similar to a computer. We created computers to symbolize something within the mind, to learn from. So, security systems. We all have these security systems, these defense programs, and DNA is motivational programming, as I've spoken before. Motivational programming, and hormones are motivational programming. Programs our personal reality. Our personal reality. We are an infinite number of personal realities sharing the one dream. Personal realities sharing the one dream. We don't like sharing that much sometimes. And as spoken before, an infinite number of personalities of the one mind sharing the one mind, parts of the one mind, not separate. A personality is just an identified attitudinal behaviour of that mind. But because all of those identified attitudinal behaviours of that mind somehow had this wish for privacy, their own space, their own thoughts, personal thoughts, created partitions within the mind. Now, all life forms in this dream represent or symbolise partitions, separations within that mind, separate entities of that mind. Like I said, it fascinates me. The more I delve into this sort of stuff, the more I learn. It's pretty amazing. It's our dream. We created it by visualizing our thoughts an infinite number of identified attitudinal behaviours, visualising their thoughts, their opinions, into the shared dream, and the forum complex, the feedback, where we all have a say, we all voice our opinions and have a say, how we're responding to the dream, about experiencing our own thoughts, our own visualised thoughts within the shared dream, how we react to that, respond to that, determines how it evolves, the adjustments. Viruses. I'm beginning to really understand that viruses have that purpose. Once all of those opinions are fed back to the source, and the source determines what adjustments to make into the dream state, it's quite possible that viruses make those adjustments. Quite possible. Reprogramming to evolve the dream or the personal realities of that shared dream. It's not that far-fetched, really isn't. I can think of more far-fetched ideas. So, it's an amazing system. An amazing system. Virtual brain mind. A logical construct. All mind states are logical constructs. Logic is library of growing intelligent concepts. Library of growing intelligent concepts. It's memory. Logic is memory of behaviour. Behavioural logic. Memory of behaviour. All mind states are logic states. Memory of behaviour. Okay. And like I said, very small percentage of viruses adversely affect us. They can be going about doing all sorts of stuff that may not, we may not see as a threat. But the stuff we do see as a threat, the immune system goes on the attack. So it may not be the content of the virus that causes the symptoms. It could be the war between our immune system and the virus trying to go about doing its job, reprogramming, and more than likely for a beneficial purpose, but maybe not all the time. As everything within this dream is a visualization of our thoughts, then it could be possible for us to influence certain viruses or create certain viruses that represent our fears, our violent natures, our bad thoughts towards one another or towards the dream itself, towards other life forms, our personal preferences. All belief systems are personal preferences. A declaration of personal preference, that's what a belief is. That's what a choice is. Choice and belief, the same thing. Belief is a choice. All products of experience-based consciousness. We develop beliefs according to our conscious experiences. Our conscious experiences. We develop beliefs, personal preferences, choices, what we like, what we don't like, what we'd rather have, what we'd rather not have. So, viruses. Now, a lot of those viruses, we'll get back into geometrical thought harmonics, the geometry of the mind, the language of mind, language of thought. a lot of viruses form in icosahedral structures, icosahedral geometric structures. An icosahedron is an expression of desire. It represents will, strong will, an expression of desire, an expression of wishes. That's what will is, an expression of wishes. Desire is a wish. Desire is a motive-based sense. Sense labels, recognizes and recalls memory. It visualizes our thoughts. So motive-based sense, or a personal sense, a conscious sense, is a personal visualization. Desire is a personal visualization of thought. What we wish for, what we desire, a personal visualization of thought. A lot of those viruses form in icosahedron structures. Products of will, expressions of desire. Okay. So, will, as spoken before, when we say that someone is very strong-willed, or let's say we say someone is very spirited, or a creature is very spirited, it means strong-willed, a strong desire to achieve something or not to achieve something, to do something or not to do something. Very strong will. No, I don't want to do that. Or yes, I'm going to do that. Very spirited, very determined to achieve what it wants to achieve. Viruses very determined to achieve what they want to achieve, what they've been programmed to achieve, what they've been programmed to do by that system, to evolve the personalities, the life forms, the personal realities within the shared dream for unification purposes. Voice-initiated reprogramming and unification system for unification purposes. Now, when these viruses are trying to reprogram the entities that are causing harm or problems within the system that aren't compatible, causing conflict, but we have a defense system. We don't want that. We want to keep doing what we want to do. Free will says we can. Let's attack everything that prevents us from achieving what we want to achieve. You can see that happening in life all the time. Human nature, and not just human nature, other creatures too. Okay, viruses trying to reprogram the system to bring it into harmony. Us going on the attack, don't want change, we like it the way it is, or not necessarily like it the way it is, but we're used to it the way it is. We have our comfort zones. We've gotten used to the way it is. We've figured out how to deal with it. You know, now we can sort of get through it okay, make adjustments. You know, we can deal with it. So better the thing you know than the thing you don't know. So, like I said, we go on the attack. It causes symptoms, adverse effects from the war. The system that created this virtual reality, trying to keep it in balance, in harmony, and keep it adjusted, make changes that are necessary. And there are personalities who just want to keep it the way it is. That's why we haven't evolved. That's why we aren't compatible with the environment that we exist within. We need protection, clothing, shelters, sunscreen, all these protections that we need because we're not compatible. with this dream state. We've become rebels within this dream state. We want things done our way. We can see that happening everywhere. Pretty determined we are. We want to do it our way. So we have wars. We have conflicts of opinion. Now, there's nothing wrong with a difference of opinion. Nothing wrong at all. It just it helps us to have conversations. You know, this is what I like. That's what you like. That's interesting. I don't like what you like. But does it really matter whether you like what they like or not? Is it worth fighting over? Maybe sometimes. Okay, so all of these icosahedral will-based reprogramming entities attempting to do what they were programmed to do, and us fighting against it, causing adverse symptoms, dis-ease. Disease is dis-ease. We are not at ease. The mind is not at ease, so it manifests something into the dream to represent that dis-ease. Symbolic representation of dis-ease. Visualized thoughts. Manifests a problem within the body. A malfunction, an irritation, all sorts of stuff. So, and as I think I've spoken before, our immune systems are a product of fear. Form experienced amnesia reaction. Amnesia reaction. We've forgotten what we are, how we created the dream by visualizing our thoughts. We've become separate entities, partitions within the one mind, personal space, personal memories, separated from one another, a disconnect. We've created a disconnect in the mind. And that's not good. We need to unify, unification, voice-initiated reprogramming and unification. Otherwise, we're always going to be feeling threatened, going on the attack, causing adverse symptoms because of the conflict. Like I said, it's not necessarily the content of the reprogramming entity. It's just that we don't want to be reprogrammed. We feel invaded. That's why we wanted privacy within the shared space, within the shared mind, within the shared dream. We wanted privacy. We wanted our own space. And we can see how that's gone. Not well. Not well at all. Like I said, product of fear. Our immune system is a product of fear. It's a security system. And you don't create a security system unless you're being afraid of being attacked or threatened. Why would you have a security system if you weren't afraid of being attacked or threatened? Unless you felt vulnerable. And that's what we do. We feel vulnerable. Okay. So what do we do about it? I know what I've done about it. I don't want a fear-based security system. I know the troubles I have on my computer with my security systems, with my virus protection systems. They sometimes cause more problems than they're worth because they upset the computer system by trying to block out everything that they're not comfortable with. It upsets the system, the functionality of the system. If I could do away with those security systems on my computer, I would. Because they spend so much time analysing everything to see if it's a threat that it slows the system down, causes problems. Why wouldn't our immune system do the same thing to us? Computers, we created computers to represent something within the mind, to help us to understand our own mind, to understand what we've created within our own mind. And we have these security systems in place. And sometimes our personal security systems attack us instead of other stuff that they're not comfortable with. For some reason, they get confused and they attack us. They attack our system, our personal reality. Confusion. You would have to accept that an infinite number of identified attitudinal behaviours, personal realities or personalities of the one mind, disconnected, forming partitions within that mind, separations, divisions, it would represent confusion, because it's a mind with all of these separations and partitions. The mind wouldn't function properly. You would have all of these disconnects. All these disconnects. Mind wouldn't function properly. That's what we have. That's what this whole reality represents. Confusion, separation, division, partitions within the mind, fear. We need to change that. And as I was going to say, I don't want a fear-based security system. So I'm attempting to change that, to reprogram that. So I would rather harmonise, have a harmonisation system, something that harmonises my entire personal reality, harmonises that personal reality with the shared dream. So anything that came into, or it's not a case of this threat stuff. We're just visualised thoughts. You know, we're not really anything but visualised thought. We are symbolic of that separation, personal realities, personalities, partitions. All separate entities are symbolic of those partitions. And if we felt comfortable in our own self, in our own dream, we wouldn't be afraid. We wouldn't feel threatened. We wouldn't need a security system. That's what I've been attempting to do. See, I don't have a problem. I'm not afraid. If I associate with somebody who has an illness, the flu or whatever, even COVID virus, I'm not afraid of that stuff. I don't catch other people's stuff. I don't take it on board. See, intellect is receptive and constructive. It takes on board and builds upon concepts. Feeling is an expression of emotional intelligence. It expresses what has been suggestively taken on board and built upon through intellect. Receptive and constructive. We pick up other people's feelings. We are receptive to other people's feelings, whether we like it or not. That's what intelligence is, receptive and constructive. Takes on board and builds upon concepts. Attitude is represented geometrically as a square-based pyramid. The square represents intellect. The pyramid itself, with equilateral triangle sides forming an apex, the equilateral triangles represent creative thought or imagination. Because those equilateral triangles are focused towards an apex, it is focused creative thought or focused imagination. Intellect-based focused creative thought. Intellect-based focused creative thought. Focused creative thought is sense. Sense is focused creative thought or focused imagination. Labels, recognizes and recalls memory. Visualizes thoughts. Okay, so a square-based pyramid visualizes what has been taken on board and built upon. Attitude is the position a body takes in relation to an environment. The position a body takes in relation to an environment. That's what attitude is. Intellect-based sense. An intellect-based sense is attitude. Okay, and I don't think there's a coincidence that the Egyptian pyramids are square-based pyramids. Visualized thoughts. Visualized thoughts. Visualizing what has been taken on board and built upon through intellect. What has been received and constructed and visualized, expressed into the dream state. Because nature, geometrically represented as an octahedron with 8 equilateral triangle facets, 6 points. Each of those 6 points is the apex of a square-based pyramid. It's an expression of attitude. But it also has emotional intelligence. Feeling is an expression of emotional intelligence, like we just said. An attitudinal expression of feeling is nature. Attitudinal behaviour. Feeling, how we feel, suggests how we behave. How we feel about the self, how we feel about the environment, and how we feel about the experiences we have within the environment is going to determine our behaviour. Our behaviour towards the self, towards the environment, and towards those experiences. Nature is attitudinal behaviour, an expression of square-based pyramids of attitude. Visualised thoughts. But in the case of nature, it's visualising our feelings. Visualising what has been suggestively taken on board and built upon. It's a visualisation of our feelings. That's what nature is. Attitudinal behaviour. The position a body takes in relation to how it feels. The position a body takes in relation to how it feels. In relation to what has been suggestively taken on board and built upon. What has been received and built upon. What thoughts have been received and built upon. Okay, visualizations of thought. All right, so where do we go from here? Like I said, I don't want a fear-based security system. I don't pick up other people's viruses, their diseases. I'm not afraid, because we visualize our thoughts, how we think and how we feel. That's what's visualized into our reality in some way or form. Quite possibly, and quite often, through the body. The body is our represents our personal reality, our personal space. It's what the body represents within the shared dream, our personal space. We don't like people interfering or threatening our personal space. And like I said, if you have a fear, we've developed these fears. Fears are belief systems, are products of belief. All fears are products of belief. That's what they are. Products of our conscious experiences, what we have experienced in the conscious state, in the shared dream. We form these beliefs. They cause all sorts of problems. And all fears, like I said, are products of belief. That's just what they are, products of belief. So, as I was attempting to get to, if we're afraid of catching an illness, a virus, that fear itself, we visualize something that represents that fear. Quite often, because of our fear of going, oh, I'm afraid of getting this disease, it's the same thing as saying, oh, I'm going to get this disease. And what happens? We get the disease. We take on board the virus. And that can happen in different, not just fear related. If you're an empath, I'm an empath, so I know I can talk about that. Empathy is the nature of reason. The nature of reason is empathy. Reason-based attitudinal behavior. Reason-based nature is empathy. Reason is love-regulated or love-based, emotional, mental, and physical intelligence. Love-based, emotional, mental, and physical intelligence. That's reason, love-regulated. Also a product of awareness. Awareness-based intelligence. Awareness is a sense. It's a love-based sense agreement, a sensory impulse. Sensory impulse, visualization of thought. Now, as I've spoken before, hexagons represent love or unconditional acceptance. Unconditional acceptance creates programs, which are reflex responses, or can be reflex responses, and impulses. Program thought, reflex responsive, impulsive thought. Okay, so awareness, sensory impulse, visualization of program thought, reflex responsive or impulsive thought. Impulsive visualizations, reflex responsive visualizations, programs, visualized programs, visualized programs. A conclusive agreement of focused imagination, awareness, a love-based sense agreement, but also a conclusive agreement of focused creative thought or focused imagination. What we become aware of, what we sense, what we sense, what we become aware of. Unconditional sense, an unconditional visualization. And in the case of reason, it's a visualization of what has been taken on board and built upon by emotional, mental, and physical intelligence. Reason love-regulated intelligence, love-based intelligence, awareness-based intelligence, reason. Now, if you add the geometric structure of reason, which has 6 square external facets and 8 hexagon external facets, forms a geometric structure of reason. If we add the octahedron of nature to that structure of reason, that's what creates the nature of reason, empathy. And as I was getting to, empathy is receptive to other people's feelings. Being very receptive to other people's feelings. We empathise with them. Quite often because we've been in similar situations to them. So we empathise. We have these deep feelings for what they're going through. Quite often because of that we can take on board their problems. Because we make that deep connection with them. And we become more or less one. So what they're feeling, we feel. That's not necessarily a good thing all the time. It's good for healing purposes. I was into natural healing, energy healing, sound therapy, all that sort of stuff. Being an empath, it was very good. Because I could feel what they were feeling, what was making them sick, what was causing the dis-ease within their personal reality. But I had to be very careful not to take on their stuff. Initially, I did take on their stuff. It caused me a lot of problems. So I had to not put up a defense system, but more or less still had that individuality, my individuality, from their individuality. And even though I felt what they were feeling and empathised with them because they're feeling the way they do, I developed a way of not taking it on board. And like I said, it's a work in progress. I still take on board other people's stuff sometimes. That's the nature of caring about others, I suppose. It has its pros and cons. But look, I don't pick up other people's stuff anymore. I can be around sick people. I don't get sick. I don't take on their baggage. I don't take on their stuff. I feel sorry for them. I care about what they're going through, but I don't want to go through the same stuff as them. That would be pointless. You know, if someone falls in the swamp, you can't help them by jumping in. You help them by being out of the swamp and then dragging them out. Jumping into the swamp with them is just useless. Okay. So, we reprogram, as I spoke before, DNA, motivational programming, hormones, motivational programming, everything's about programs. We reprogram our system. So we're not afraid. So love takes the place of fear. I got rid of most of my belief systems a long time ago. Through my research, I realised that they were just manifestations of my fears, of my conscious experiences, of my limited awareness at that time, limited information. We can develop these beliefs that are, well, no belief is true. Beliefs aren't based on facts or evidence. They're personal preferences. It's what you choose to accept as true. That's what a belief is. I choose to accept that as true. I believe it. Nothing to do with facts or truth. It's just what we have developed through our conscious experience. So through unconditional acceptance of the way things are, of what I am, what we are, what we have created, we visualized our thoughts into a dream state, we embedded ourselves into the dream. This is our reality, so-called. This is our reality. This is as good as it gets. Not necessarily the quality of the reality is as good as it gets, but the dream state, that's where we exist. We are a mind that thinks and visualizes its thoughts into a dream state. That's where we live. That's where we live. The dream is where we live. And it's up to us on what sort of a dream state we create. A crappy one or a good one. We should have learnt now. We know that we've created all the crap that we can possibly create, I suppose. So we know how to create all the crappy stuff. Now we just have to learn how to create the good stuff and learn from experience what not to do. What not to do. We're in a mess, total chaos, confusion, separation, partitions, fears, security systems. Who wants to live like that? Crap. Like I said, I don't pick up their shit. I don't get this stuff. I had the 2 injections when the COVID came, only because I was expected to have them, and if I didn't have them, we were going to be more or less punished for not having them by being restricted on where we can go, who we can have around us, who we can visit us. I didn't want that. And because I don't have a fear of all that stuff of, it might make me sick, didn't have a fear of that stuff. Didn't matter to me. The system I've developed now just harmonises. It's not fear-based. Just harmonises. Harmony is a product of synchronicity. Synchronicity is coordination, creative intelligence. Okay. So, where do we go from here? More or less, I just wanted to explain viruses and disease. You know, we create disease, like I said, it's a manifestation of our thoughts of dis-ease. We aren't comfortable, we aren't at ease, we feel threatened. We manifest something into the physical to represent that threat or that bad feeling. That's just how the dream works. We need to realise that. If we want to create something better, we need to understand how it all works and then take steps to make it better. So, I don't know whether I needed to add anything more to that. But like I said, viruses seem to be doing their thing. It's part of the system, the virtual reality-based system that we have actualised through our beliefs. Virtual reality became actual reality and imprisoned the mind. We believed it to be real. We embedded ourselves within our own dream. We separated ourselves from the knowledge and awareness of what we are, how we came about, and we became separate entities within an uncomfortable space, an unfamiliar space. And everything that's manifested because of that is what we have now. Product of fear, conflict, disease, war, separation, security systems. That's what we've created because of that disconnect. Like I said, the only way to change that is to reconnect. Reconnect. Accept our oneness, our wholeness. Don't be afraid of our own potential. It's very important. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. And I hope someone got something from it. And thank you.